Simon, if we could just start around a squad update. We saw pictures this morning, Ciaran Doris sitting out training. Can you give us an update on what his situation is?
Yeah, so he didn't train, and that was the plan at the beginning of the week, was just to manage him. But we're expecting him to train fully tomorrow, so there should be no issue with Ciaran.
Is there a specific knock he's carrying?
He's probably carrying a few, but just more bumps and bruises, and I guess it's he had a few took a few hits against Italy, and yeah, he's in a good place, but he needs to be managed in a couple of areas, and we don't expect him not to be fully fit for the weekend.
Okay, the other one then, the big one, Hugo Keenan. Obviously, we've been talking about his knee for a week or so. How is he at the moment? Is he any closer to being available?
Yeah,
or
so
unavailable?
He's good again, and I think again he's sort of similar to Ciaran. Hugo's been such a massive part of this group since he first made his debut a few years ago. So it's important that we try and give him the opportunity to prove his fitness. But we're really excited as well about the opportunities that might present. If he doesn't make it, then we feel really excited about what's to come in, and the opportunities that other guys will get to step up.
In a situation like that, how long would you generally give a player before making a call on it?
Yeah, you probably. I mean, it's more than likely tomorrow. For someone like Ciaran in particular, you'd be, you wouldn't want to leave it too late. You'd also want to make sure that you give the guys that potentially do start then the opportunity to get time in the saddle, and it's important that we grow the squad and grow the experience that the guys will have, and that's the case for Ciaran's position and Hugo's.
And just finally for me then, in terms of Wales and from your defensive side of things, what did you see from them against England? They had a few kind of creative ways of trying to get around England's rush defence. What have you been looking out over those first two games?
Yeah, I mean, I think other than the first 40 odd minutes against Scotland, they've been very good with ball in hand. They've created opportunities. They're able to keep the ball for long periods, which can make it frustrating, and it can make it challenging, that you don't sort of stray offside or give away something stupid and needless. So they're threatening, and then, like you say, against England, against a strong defence, they're able to pick a few holes in that defence as well. So I'm not expecting anything different. I think they're a good team. They actually they went to Twickenham and were maybe unlucky not to win the game, and certainly in the last 20 minutes of the Scotland game, you'd imagine that all the momentum was with them, and again they could be 2 from 2. So yeah, it's been a real challenge for us, making sure that we're strong both sides of the ball, but defensively they'll pose loads of threats. And they brought Sam Costello back in, a bit more experience at 10, with Johan Lloyd on the bench, who I think has had he's a fabulous footballer and adds a little bit of another dimension to them off the bench.
Simon, can I just ask about Hugo? Was he there? Was he training at all this morning?
Yeah, so he was there today, but yeah, he wasn't taking part in the session.
Also saw Ian Henderson was there, but not training.
Yeah. So Hendy's still been assessed. Obviously, he's played more recently on the weekend against the Ospreys, so he's still been assessed for a foot injury, and he's just we're again leaving him a little bit of time to those sort of injuries take probably a little bit longer to settle down, and then the assessment will probably be done along with the other guys tomorrow.
Big plus is seeing Gary Ringrose back out there.
Gary obviously has he's missed the first couple of weeks, and I think it was the right thing to do for him to make sure he gets that shoulder right, but he's in a really good place, and we're really fortunate at the moment with the guys we have in that midfield. Thought Stu was excellent on the weekend against Italy, and it's a real competitive position at the moment with Robbie and Bundy, Stu and Gary in there. So yeah, it's positive that we've got those guys firing, and it'll be important not just this weekend but the weekends ahead into England and Scotland, that we've got a full deck to choose from.
Simon, I assume Ciaran Frawley's probably been running plenty as full back in training. Just how's he been getting on with it? I know he's played there plenty for Leinster this season.
Yeah, he's good. Frawls is really confident, and he's he'll often cover more than one position, 15, 10, 12. So I think when he gets someone like that, they have to be really competent, and he is. He's really he's giving guys a lot of confidence in the back, and he's got a real good way about him. He's quite unassuming, but he's really confident, and he's composed. He's kind of really thriving in that position, and I think he's a player that has been on the radar for a while, and we know that opportunities have maybe been a bit short for him in terms of his position at Leinster to be moved around a little bit, but certainly is a player that we would be really keen and excited about seeing at 15.
So Darragh Gorman in with the squad was at today. I just saw the clip that was posted. Looked lovely. What was it like for the squad? And
yeah, it was amazing. Obviously he'd gone over to Liverpool, hadn't he, and met Klopp, and I think Diaz was his favourite player, and it turned out that Bundy was his favourite player here, and he got him up, Bundy up to present him a shirt. But he's a lovely kid, and the whole family was lovely. He's a great supporter. He loves his sport. He's so knowledgeable, and not just rugby, but other football and American football. So yeah, he's a real character, and it was great to have him involved. Unfortunately, we got Foggs up to sing "You'll Never Walk Alone" with him, which unfortunately Foggs' memory must have slipped him, so he struggled a little bit with the words. But it was great. The squad really enjoyed having him in, and it's people like that give the players the inspiration to go on and perform, because he's been through a hell of a lot in a short life. That he's a real inspiration.
It's rare enough to nil a team. Do you get a massive bonus for doing that?
No. It is rare, and it's something that we've certainly spoken about, but it's I guess we've when you do that, you got to make sure that you put it in context. I think we pressurised Italy. I don't think they were at their best, and I think when you look at what Wales did to Scotland in the second half, Wales did to England at times in Twickenham, then you have to make sure that your feet stay on the ground and you keep trying to get better. And it's great that we didn't concede against them, but we also know that there's a far sort of harder test to come. But the players were great. They I think part of it probably like anything, it's got to start somewhere, and part of it was the set piece defence was excellent. And then when you take away that platform for any team, ourselves would be the same. It becomes much harder to get the flow into your attacking game, and our set piece defence was outstanding, which allowed us to grow defensively and not give them any access. So it was good.
Like when an attack coach is reviewing, there's obviously loads of highlights they'll help to review. What kind of things are you focused on in terms of positive reinforcement?
I guess things we've worked on in the week, which are being disciplined, not giving them any access into our. I think that the closest they got to our try line was 15 metres, so they didn't get those types of kicks to the corner and get their maul going. So the discipline within sort of the referee, but also discipline within our system as well. And I think all of those things kind of contribute to making it hard to play against us for Italy. And there's little bits along the way that we would have sort of identified when we were playing Italy that we might do differently to when we were playing Wales and so on. Every team has slight sort of intricacies in their attack that we want to try to nullify, and I thought we did that well also. So it's probably a combination of things. It's not always clear and obvious to the sort of to the public, but I think there's lots of really good positive bits that we did really well, but there's also bits that we can be better at, and we'll have to be this week.
Can I just ask, do you have like a defensive captain or a kind of group that run that?
I'd say there's more sort of contribution from leaders within the team, and that would allow us sort of across the board not just to have one or two guys that are leading it. It'd be a few guys in that leadership group that would have a kind of a role within that defence.
Ireland Line struggled in the World Cup, but now since then you've won all 26 in this campaign. What's kind of made it click between the team so far?
Well, I think you'll have to ask Paul. Paul, in terms of what we're doing at the moment, we're not doing a huge amount different, to be honest. Sometimes you come up against a defence that has kind of figured out a little bit of what you're trying to do, and that makes it harder to win the ball. But I think the consistency of the drills that Paul and the players are doing over the last few weeks has kind of allowed the foundation to be really strong. And if you get your fundamentals right in whatever sort of area of the game, but line out in particular, there's lots of moving parts. And sometimes a hooker might get criticised for the throw, or rarely is it probably the lifter or the movement. And so there's lots of things that go on. There's loads of moving parts to a line out, and I think probably simplifying that since the World Cup has allowed us to be really, really effective in our ball winning and also the maul attack as well. And that's something that probably has contributed to the success of the Six Nations so far.
Andy Farrell said last week that the scrum was kind of the man of the match, and it was a lovely weapon. I said, how much work has gone into kind of perfecting that scrum in training?
I think every week there's a huge focus on our set piece, line out and scrum, and there's a real appetite for, especially for the scrum, not just for the front row or the front five, but the whole pack as an 8. The nines get involved in that as well. Foggs has I guess grown that appetite over a period of time of understanding what it gives to us as a team in terms of a platform, but what it takes away from opposition as well. So again, our set piece defence was really good, scrum and line out was really good defensively, and again we take that off the opposition, that means their foundation is weaker, and then we can be more aggressive potentially in our phase defence. So a lot of good, strong, consistent work gone in, probably World Cup through to the Six Nations, in the guys in the front row working together, but their connections with the locks, their connections with the back row, and I think you're only as strong as your weakest link, but sort of set piece is definitely one of those, and scrum is without doubt. If one guy drops out for a fraction, then it can make that scrum struggle. So I think the connections that they built have been sort of clear to see in the performances.